Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and today I'm just here because I want to have a play. I haven't worked on my gel plate for a while, or so it seems. I've got my 12x12 gel plate, I've got my 5x7 gel plate, I've got my Speedball brayer, it's my 4-inch version, my favourite brayer to use. I've got some mucky brayer off sheets to one side, and a sticky plate apparently. I've got some 12x12 cardstock here. It's 250 gram, or yes, it's 250 GSM weight. That's what I like to use for the projects I normally do. I've got some already done 12x12s, which, to be honest with you, they're in my amber drawer, or my red, green, amber traffic light storage system, which means as they're in the amber drawer, it means that they're almost finished. They're looking for maybe just a bit of a tweak of some sort, or maybe another element. I like to pull them out because there may be something left on the plate that I want to put on here. So that's those. I've got some wet strength tissue paper by Carnival, and my acrylic paints. Oh, the other thing I pulled out just in case is I bought these last Christmas. I had them for Christmas, and someone asked me to use them, and I've never got around to using them, so I might use them today. I literally am going to play, guys. I need 4 12x12 backgrounds for a project I've got coming up, and I thought, you know what, it's fine. And also I've got this little bit of white paint left in here that I'm like, right, that's bugging me, that needs to be used as well. It's a dull and overcast day here in Wales, so I thought, let's make something pretty. So, I don't actually have any colours in mind either, so I think I might try and do one that's more blues and one that's more reds, or if you want to speak of it in other terms, one that's more warms and one that's more colds or cools. So I'm just going to pull in a few colours, just literally get something on the plate. I'm going to use my 5x7 as a palette later on, but not necessarily at the moment. If I've got any guideline whatsoever, I'm looking for pretty, really. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. And by pretty, I mean things that are just a little bit arty, just colourful, really. So I think that, and let's get this green on, this white on the go, so I can get rid of it. It's weird. I never know whether I like the little bottles or the little tubes better, because if you've got the bottles, you've always got to end up then cutting the bottle to get into the remainder of the paint, because I'm not going to throw that bit out. And if you've got a tube, you're continually trying to squeeze the last remnants out the tube. So I don't know which I prefer, really. Bit hit and miss. I think it's down to what the paint is within the container itself, not so much the container it comes in. I've never had acrylic paint in pouches, which I've seen other people use. That really doesn't appeal to me. I have enough trouble storing tubes where they don't fall over all the time without having to worry about pouches. Right, let's get a background on this one first. So literally coming in, popping my 12x12 down. At this point, I'm not looking to pick everything up, I'm just picking stuff up. There you go, and I'm going to come in, and on the edges that didn't quite pick up enough, like those little white bits, I'm just going to pick those up as well. That's a good start for background. Let's bring the next one in ready to go, and I've got paint still on my brayer, so I'm just going to get that onto here just to start it off. Now I do know, because you guys have been so kind as to comment on it, that quite a few of you have actually bought yourself gel plates, and I'm very, very pleased about that. Personally, for no reason other than I love using my gel plates, and if someone else can get joy out of using their gel plates, then that's what it's all about for me. Having fun, having a good mindful time with my creativity, and if I can share that with someone else, then whoop-de-doo, I think we're doing well, guys. Right, let's pull this one off. This, because I left it sit longer, will have cleaned my plate. Oh, that's not bad. I've got a bit of that along there. I wonder whether I can get that off with my brayer. I've had this plate so long now but I think what's happened is it's kind of distorted, which is fine. I love my plate anyway. And someone has said, oh, well, why don't you go for a bigger plate if you're doing your 12 by 12s? Go by, I think there's a 14 by 14. I went, no, seriously, 12 by 12 for me is way big enough. But I'll cover that as we go along anyway. Right, let's get some warms down here. Like me a bit of terracotta. All paints have got this dry piece on the top. So what's going on here? Same old really. It's another day in the neighbourhood, as I can't remember his name. Oh, isn't that annoying? It was an American TV programme for kids. Another day, Mr. something. Never mind, I know you'll know who I mean, and I know you'll say it in the comments for me. Right, it's a little bit of that on there. Did I clean my brayer off? I did. Let's get a few little dots of white on here. I do have a few gel plate projects coming up, because I know quite a few of you who've said, well, Ceri, you don't seem to be gel plating much anymore. It's certainly not a lack of wanting to. If you just look at how many videos I put out a week and how varied they are, I can't always do a gel plate video every month. I can't always do a collage video every month. Or I can't do a... Well, you understand what I mean. I can't always get done one of everything in a month because there's only so many videos I can record in a month due to basically my life and time scales and things like that. So I try and drop them in when I can. I try to do stuff when projects require those skills or elements. But I think we've got a reasonably good mixture on the channel. I mean, I'm quite happy with the variety of stuff. That's quite nice, isn't it? The variety of stuff I get to do. Right, let's get this bit off this brayer and get this onto the last one. So yes, forgive me if you're expecting to see that every single week. It's not going to happen. It's every single month. It's not going to happen. I'm trying to do things that you guys enjoy and things that I enjoy, to be honest with you. So clean that off there a bit. I don't know why I just did that, but I did. I'm noticing I've got a crease in my plate here. I'll show it to you when I actually lift this up. I don't know how that's got there, unless there was a crease in the paper that I put onto it to store it, which is what I suspect it is. Whoa, that's a sticky plate today. That's good. Okay, so that's interesting. Right, so by here, I don't know if you can just see it, there's a groove. Now that's been caused because I normally store my gel plates between two sheets of A4 paper, not A4, 12 by 12 paper, and then put them into a plastic box for storage. And I think because I haven't used my plate for a while, there must have been a crease in the paper and it's pressed that down and left an indent, which is something to be wary of. So I'm just going to turn my plate over and work on the other side today. Now, will that dink or dent come out? It probably will eventually, because I condition my plates probably about 4 weeks, 6 weeks-ish, and it's only a little tiny crease. It's not a hole or a dent, so it should come out. Right. Let's see where we're up to. So I've got blue, orange. I'm going to call them that because I'm just going to call them that. So I think, right, I want to add a little more something to this one. I'm not looking for anything that's along the lines of grungy or anything. I want them bright and fun because I think the project I'm going to do not requires it, but will benefit from something a bit brighter. So I'm going to use pearl frosted mint, and I'm going to put a reasonable amount on there. That feels like a lot, and to me that probably is a lot, but I'm not going to cover the whole 12 by 12 in it. I'm literally going to do a pickup technique with this. Oh, this paint smells a little bit peculiar. Maybe it's on its way out. I have had it a while, I must admit. This should sort of be the opportunity for me to use up stuff from my other, use up stuff on my other pieces that are not quite finished. So I'm going to come in and I'm literally just dropping this down in places on here, and what I'm trying to do is just that. Pick it up. I don't mind it puckering slightly, that adds texture for me. Again, I'm going to come in with this one, which is the other one. See, it's just adding something, and I look around, there's very white spots. No, there isn't, or no, there aren't. Right, I'm going to bring in some of the ones that I said were not quite up to par, should we say, and I'm going to build a little something on them. See what I mean? So it just changes it ever so slightly. This one already kind of has that colour in it, and could do with taking some of the busyness of this print and pushing it into the background. A bit up there needs sorting as well. Right, did all that paint run over the edge? No, it didn't. I thought it did. Right, I've still got paint on my brayer. I'm going to do the same technique with the other few I've got here. Like this is a prime candidate for it. Come down, pick up stuff. See, it just changes the character, and I'm not doing anything special. I'm literally just patting it down onto the surface. And this one, which I think was originally a clean off, I'm going to actually just put the whole plate on, put it down on the whole plate and just let it clean off my plate for me. Time to clean up my brayer. So I've got a shower curtain behind me on the floor, and that's where I'm going to put these to rest. I'm liking that already a lot better than it was before. Reaching over, sorry for my arm. Yeah, that's cool. I like the thickness that it's picked up there. And this one, actually I wish I'd have had a little bit more in there, to be honest, but you know what, that's fine. I'm not gonna stress about that. So that's having a little think of its own. I've got a couple left here which luckily enough are warm colours, and as I said, I'm doing warm anyway, so I'm going to choose a colour now that's sort of that pearly effect again, not because I want shiny, but just because I know the shiny is not going to be a solid in your face colour. And I think I might actually use this. Is this pearl? Yes, pearl blush. There you go. That's a nice pretty pink colour. And we know I'm not a huge lover of pink, so we can work with that. Right, that's calmed that down considerably. That now needs things to contrast with it, but that's an interesting background. I'm going to take the orange one and I'm going to come in. Now there was a piece along the edge there that needed sorting out. And I'm going to pick up pieces like I did on the others. See, bits of interest. Again, same on this one. Bits of interest. Oh, we need a bit more of interest on that actually. There you go. We will look at all of these in the course of the video, don't worry. So, clean off that brayer again and use my last two of these. Now this one's already got warm colours in it, which is probably a good thing. That's taken that down. I like that edge to be gone. That's cool. Yes, this is the one. I quite like this. I was a bit... It's one of those prints I was like, is that finished? Is it not finished? So if I'm undecided, then I'm undecided. So my feeling was, if it's not finished totally, that needs a little help, and I'll know when it's finished because my gut will tell me. Right, now I do have these that I wanted to use, and I'm not really sure how to use them because I don't normally use them. So I think I'm going to put white dots in. And by white dots I mean this, and it's a 3-inch circle. So how would I use this? Now I've seen people brayer directly onto this, but I don't think I want to do that. So push the plate up, bring this in. I think I'm going to use my 5x7 as almost an ink pad. You've seen me do this a lot before. I tend to do this because it prevents me putting too much paint onto the bigger plate, unless I intentionally want to do that. So just brayer that out. That's coming now. I've left these on their plastic backings because I didn't see any reason to take them off. Okay, that's not bad. That gives me a different sort of look. And I am going to do 3 because aesthetically that works for me. Not because anyone's dictating I have to do that. Right, there's 3 on there. Let's put 3 on this one because I can. Let's put a little more paint on here. Okay, Darcy, I think we're going for a 4, girl. I know Darcy prefers 4s. I might actually go for 5 on here and do that one to go just off the edge. Okay, these are interesting. So I don't know, right, on this one I think I want to go with a brownish sort of colour. So this is just a nondescript bottle of brown paint. If you see a bottle with no labels on it, it usually means that I've just decanted other bottles of brown into the same one, or other bottles of that colour into the same one. That's not quite a nice chocolate colour, isn't it? Right, I haven't cleaned this off, so it may pick up some of the white. I suppose this is a way of making quite a contemporary look, isn't it? For those of you who've been asking, how is my doodling coming along? I'm doing it. I'm probably not doing it as much as I would like to do it. And for no other reason than just life gets in the way, guys. Life is very busy at the moment. I am leaving for America at the end of August, and I won't be back until the middle of September. And I'll tell you all about that in another video. So just know that there's stuff going on. It's good. It is good stuff, but I need to keep a cap on it at the moment. As I said, these are just for a project I've got coming up. They don't have to be matchy-matchy. They definitely don't have to match each other. As I said, it's just a project. Right, there's way too much paint on here, Griffiths. But you know what? I'm eager to empty this container, so I'll deal with the extra paint. Right, yay. Empty, happy about that. Time to clean the little palette knife off, or it'll be stuck on there because I'll forget about it. So right, let's just, my aim is to get a brayer of white on here, and then I'm going to come in with the wallpaper sample. Now the wallpaper sample, what I did was I happened to be on eBay one day and someone was selling off a whole load of wallpaper samples. So I went into an auction. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but I was looking for wallpaper samples anyway. It was sort of on my back burner, and I won the auction and I paid for them. Can't even remember how much I paid for them. This is a few years ago now. And in amongst it was textured wallpaper, which was something I really wanted to play with. So that's what this is. Now I'm pressing it down, but I'm not pressing it down so hard that I'm pressing all of the... If there's a raised section within the wallpaper, there's an unraised section. I don't want the unraised sections picking up. I want to pick this up just like that. And I'm going to come in and pick that up. Now I'm gently going over this because I don't want to pick up a perfect impression. I wanted something like that. And let's see if I can get a little bit more on the edge. I'll be happy. See what I mean? So I just wanted something like that. And I'm going to do the same again on the other version. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same piece of wallpaper, because this piece of wallpaper is probably resisting the paint at the moment, which means it'll press more paint down onto the plate. Or that is my hope anyway. Yes, I'll quickly put this one on top. It should pick up everything that's left on there. Right, let's grab my Baron. Okay, a Baron is, well, this is a wooden Baron. You can get them in different materials. This was made by Anthony at Cody Woodcraft on Etsy. he hand carves them or turns them, and I love this because I've got big hands. This really helps, and it's a way of smoothing down your gel stuff onto your gel plate without putting a lot more pressure on your hand, to be honest. I'm in shot. I hope to goodness I'm in shot because I haven't been checking. Right, well that's sitting there. Let's have a bit of a think. Let's see what this one does. I'm tempted to use the other wallpaper sample on the other one, to be honest, but maybe in a different colour. Oh. Right, this wasn't as defined, but actually I'm not overly bothered by that because I've got real subtlety in there. And if you know me, subtlety is not something I do easily. I've got this green. Well, this is a mixed pot. I think this started life as a paint colour called Hauser Green. Just open the top and see what colour this actually is. Actually, it's not far off that colour again. Looks like it needs a really good mix, so it looks like it's separating. I've got some old paints here that I'm just trying to use up at the moment. Part of the reason for that is because I have a rule that my storage boxes for paint can only be replenished when I've actually used up a paint. So I've got a few colours I want to buy. Some of my subscribers have been quite generous, thank you very much, with using Super Thanks, which is a button at the bottom of the video, to actually help fund some of these videos. So I'm eager to buy some fresh paint. But as I said, I'm not willing to pay out for paint if I've still got paint here that needs using up. And by the smell of one or two of these, what I would call craft paints. By craft paints, I mean paints that come in these little bottles. It smells like some of these might be nearing death, should we say. So I have to make a note of which bottles those are and use them up. Right, again, let's come in with the other wallpaper sample. Pop that down, give it a bit of a rub. I want to make sure I've got no air bubbles. However, I don't want to press too hard. I don't want to lift everything. I think I want to brayer that a bit more because I think that's going to just look like soup. I didn't take into consideration that this is a really fluid paint. And if there's too much paint on there, it's just going to be soupy. It's going to end up with slopping all over the place. Right, put that back down and let it sit for a second or two. So let's see let's think about July. What happened in July? I launched some new stamps in July. Some foam stamps with PM Artist Studio. I don't have them at the moment because they've launched in America, but the parcel containing them hasn't come here. What I did is I've launched a couple of sets of 4, and they're little foam stamps to do borders in. I think that'll be okay if I don't press that down too hard. To do borders for my art journal pages and things like that. Patricia from PM Artist Studios already used them and she loves them. And seeing her use them on screen, the possibilities in my brain is going a bit bonkers at the moment. So I can't wait to get my hands on those, to be honest. Okay, that's a bit more washed out than I expected that to be. I think I'm going to put this back down again. I think this green was a mistake. But you know what? We can work with Kermit. We're going to make sure Kermit lives to see another day. So anyone not knowing who Kermit is, obviously he's one of the Muppets by Jim Henson. And I think Muppet is probably a really good word to use for what I've just done here. I've made green soup. I like the wallpaper though. So I want to pick this up on this one. Right. So what I was hoping was going to be a warm colour has ended up being green. It happens. Yeah, that's not great. Right, this paint needs to go back where it came from. This needs a clean off and the brayer needs a clean off. Right, I like this blue one, and this is probably why I grabbed for the green one. And I like this blue one. I do, however, think I want to start putting stuff onto them and I mean like mark making. So I'm going to come in. Let's put this one down first. Right, I'm going to grab, I've got this piece of corrugated card. I have used this so much, it's becoming crunchy, let's put it that way. It's just a bit of packaging. I first saw this done by Gail Augustinelli, who uses this, rubs an ink pad onto it and then presses it onto a journal page to put lines. I like the idea of using this to actually mark make, so that's probably where you've seen me do it before. Right, this is a predominantly blue page. I'm liking the fact that it's a predominantly blue page. Do I want to make it a blue page? I do, because I've got this colour in there. I think I want to put some blue stripes on here, or blue strips. Stripes? I don't know. I think I'm being a bit heavy-handed with paint today. Maybe I'm just not concentrating. Right, so I'm going to put this in here to pick up paint. Pop it down, give it a little bit of a press, because what I want is that. I want subtle lines on here. And I think I'm going to do a couple more patches on the other side. Now I'm choosing not to cross them over. I don't want a grid. If I wanted a grid, I've got something I can use for that. Right, that's okay. Let's pull the other one in. It seems like these are going to be a pair. That doesn't bother me either. And the project I've got in mind would work equally as well with a pair anyway. So this time I'm not going to go just down the edge. I'm going to do patches. So there is some variety in the design. And off the edge there. Actually, that looks like one, doesn't it? So let's put a little bit up like there. Right, get this off my hands before I start picking up anything else around, which I'm more than likely to do. Right, this has been interesting, liking the direction this is going in. Right, this one here, one of the cleanup ones, I think I'm going to come in and do the same thing on this one. And just put stuff on here. Just to, again, build up the combination of visual interest on here. This time, however, because I've got this out, I am going to come in and I'm going to cross over the previous lines to give me a lattice shape or lattice detail. Oh, I don't want it wonky. There you go. I have this thing about diagonal lines. If a line's supposed to be straight, it should be straight. If it's meant to be diagonal, it's meant to be diagonal. Okay, that's adding interest to that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab transparent red iron oxide. It's going to seriously change the way this looks, guys. So it's either going to be an ooh-ah moment or a, oh my god, what's the hell have I just done moment. Right, so this is a completely transparent paint. Okay, it's also very fluid. So it's going to add what's called a glaze. And a glaze is just a thin coating of paint over an existing coating of paint, or over a something, should we say. It wouldn't necessarily be paint, to alter the colour of what's down there. Now, I didn't want it to be too thick and soupy, so just brayer some of that off. Thin this down. I'm going to have to clean this brayer. I'm beginning to get edges on it. Doesn't have to be a perfect coat, but I want this gone. And I refuse to waste the paint, the time, or the paper that was printed on. Right, I'm going to pick up bits of there. Try and make sure that the green is non-existent. Right, so there you go. So I've really, really obliterated the ugly from here. I probably made new ugly, but I've obliterated the old ugly. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to come in with that kissing technique of mine and actually pick up patches onto the other one. There you go, so that's very earthy. Right, let's go back and look at the blue ones. Shall we? Let's push this out the way. Right, I'm really liking this, and this is so near done. Actually, I'm tempted to just finish this one off. Purely because if it's hanging around me, I'm likely to pick it up and go, oh, let's just add that to that. Let's just add that to that. When actually, this is pretty much done. Question is, what colour would I put with it? I need a contrasting or a complementary colour that really works for this. And that could work. I don't want red. Because basically what I'm doing is I'm using a warm colour to complement or contrast with a cool colour. Now granted, purples aren't always cool, or sometimes they're warm, sometimes they're cool, depending on the base colour they're made from. Or that's my belief anyway. Actually, I don't mind that. Wine red. And I'm only thinking subtlety here, guys. I'm actually just thinking of a few bubble wrap dots. I mean, I've got some bubble wrap here, and this bubble wrap's been used several times and it's already got blue on it. And what will happen is if there's any blue that's not sticking properly to the bubble wrap, it will come off onto here, and I don't mind that. Oh, this is almost out, isn't it? Oh, okay, you're out. I nearly ended up that all over the carpet. Right, so I'm just brayering off a section so there's enough to pick up. Pop it down. Now I am going to consider the areas I'm putting this into. There's some areas for me that look like they're screaming out for something. Now I'd like to say I'm going to do threes, but I'm not sure I am. To see that feels like it's one piece there. And I fancy just a little bit on this edge. Okay, I'm thinking that's done. I'm now not 100% certain, but I'm going to put it to one side because I think this is done. I'm just unsure. I'm going to put it by there. I'm going to pull in this print that is one of my amber prints, the one that isn't quite finished, and I'm going to use some of this paint on here to put dots on here because I think that will knock this one into the right area for what I'm looking for a print. A little bit down in this corner, I feel. Yeah, see, now that's almost done. Let's pull in this one, because this one's looking a little bit, dare I say it, boring. So I think this one is going to get bubble wrapped. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for areas like this. So I'm in shot for that. Areas like this that have got a line in it that maybe I want to make disappear. Maybe I want to disguise it. I think I need a bit by there, even if it's just faint. Okay, that's making that interesting. And this one is already those sort of colours. Let's see if I can just do the very last bit of this paint from the bubble wrap. Goes a long way, this. Okay, we're done with the bubble wrap, I think. Okay, I think I'm going to have to take a 2-second break here, guys, because this needs cleaning up. It seriously needs cleaning up. So we're back again, and good grief, that this colour stains, I can tell you, really. So now, while I was cleaning up, I was giving a thought of these. Now, when I was a cake decorator, we always used to say, if you can't conceal it, reveal it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of white on here. White. Actually, I might put cream or a pale yellow on here just to give it a bit of light and shade, and then I'm going to use a couple of my own stencils to actually change the look of it, because I think I know where I want to take this now. So I'm going to use this Pebeo Deco Cream, and I will say this is pastel yellow, and I'm going to put some of this on here, and I'm going to do that kissing technique of mine purely because I want to add some lightness to these two prints, because they need to be lightened up a bit. And then once I've got lightness on there, I can then go darker again, if that makes sense to anyone but me. Right, so I'm just going to pop that down, just slapping it down and picking up. I'm not trying to get anything too specific, just literally I wanted patches like that. And I'm going to repeat that with the other one. As I said, I wasn't planning on making a pair of anything, but it would be hard to match one print that is so random to something else. So at least if they're in the same family, I can use them as a pair for something. Now I've got stuff on here, got stuff on the brayer. Let's utilise that on one of the cleanup sheets. Right, this is the one we just dotted, and I think I would like to pick up. That's okay, that's what I was thinking. Just pick up patches of stuff, and then what that will do is it will knock the bubble wrap further back, and I think that probably only needs a bit of black detail and it's done. I'm going to do the same with this one, but this one I'm probably just going to put down and pick up. Yeah, it faded all of that out, which is lovely. This area definitely needs something. And this one is just hanging around, so I'm just going to pop this down and it can clean the plate for us while I explain what I'm going to do next. Let that sit. Clean this off here a bit. So I've got a stencil out there, and or a mask, and it was one of the first I ever made, and it's called Broken Bark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this in areas. I'm going on the orangey ones, and I'm actually going to go brown. I know broken bark doesn't mean it has to be bark, but I know how this was designed. This was actually designed from a photograph of tree bark I actually saw while I was, where was I? I was in a park, I think it was outside London somewhere, and I saw this bark and I literally took a photograph of it, then went in and drew it from that. So I'm going to use this as one of my masks. It does come in 3 different sizes. This is the biggest, I believe. I wouldn't always... Yeah, I think maybe that is the right size. I tend to just put them back in the packagings. So I'm going to come in with a brown, and I'd quite like it to be quite a dark brown. So there's this one called Ashfelton, which is almost a brown black, to be honest. There is cocoa brown, but it's a dull brown. I want something that's got a bit of a kick. Not necessarily like a black, but it needs to add drama. So I'm going to peel this off here. Again, it's just added a layer. I'm going to come in now. I'm going to brayer the paint through this because it will stick to the plate. Because all of the stencils and masks are actually made from Yupo, which is 100% polypropylene plastic. It works wonderful. They're just as robust as any other stencil I've used. I would say if you're going to use anything, if you abuse it, you're going to lose it. So literally, if you're going to knock stencils and stuff, even the metal ones, if you don't take care of a stencil, you're going to damage it. It's damaged for life. It's like rubber stamps. If you damage a rubber stamp, you've damaged it for life. Right. So these are what we've got, and I want to put areas in here of this brown. Now, I tend to put the paint on my palette first before I put it on here, because yes, I want this on here, but I don't necessarily want so much of a build-up of it that it smushes around. I'm also trying not to go over the edges, but if I do go over the edge, am I going to worry? No. This is art. I'm having fun with this. So just coming in this up. When you lift a stencil that's got multiple apertures in it, take care to just lift it up gently. Okay, I'm going to come in, I'm going to be careful just to pick up areas. I'm going to try and keep the vertical feel of this mask. I'm holding it up on its edges because I want something through the middle, that's why. Oh, that looks very animal print, doesn't it? I'm not upset by that. I'd be upset if it was a real animal print, but... Okay, loving that. That's going where I wanted it to go, to be honest. Right, I need to come back in. Am I going to be able to match this up? They're reasonably large apertures. I should be able to... I think that's as near as darn it. Right, I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Just to give myself something to pick up from. Now, of course, if you had a smaller plate, I'm using the 12 by 12 today because I don't want to pull a whole load of different plates out and be juggling them. I don't have the room to do that. I don't have the surfaces to put them on. So you could choose a smaller plate where this actually went over the mask went over the sides of the plate, so you wouldn't have to worry about things like catching the edges. Put a piece down the middle. See what we've got there. Oh, we need a bit there, obviously. I think I need a little bit in by there. Okay, I'm liking that. It is very animal though. That wasn't my intent, but I guess you can use this to do giraffes then. Now I need to find a green that is green and not hugely transparent. Am I going to bump it up with a bit of white? This is a nice colour green, but I'm thinking I want it slightly different, or should I bump it up with a bit of yellow? Maybe yellow. Let's use cadmium deep hue. Right, so those are the paints I'm going to use. And then I'm going to use one of my favourites actually. This is Little Leaves. Again, it comes in 3 different colours. I think you can guess why I'm using it. It's lovely. I love this stencil. Or mask, however you're using it, determines what it is. So let's put this down. Now I'm going to do the same technique here, but then I'm going to actually pick up the paint between the gaps. Ooh, bit of paint on there. So I've got quite a bit of paint there. Probably shouldn't have put that much out, but you know me, bit heavy-handed. Put some yellow with it. I think that's gonna, I'm looking for more of a vibrant green when I do this. So I'm just gonna mix this on my palette and see where I'm at with it. That's a bit brighter. Wondering whether I actually want to add some white to this. I think I just want to add a little white just to give it a touch of something. I think that's better. I don't want it to look like Army Navy camouflage gear is basically, I don't want to produce camouflage gear. So again, I'm going to pull the 2 pieces in so they're at arm's reach. I do have too much paint here, but guess what? That's me normally. Right. Now again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to try and not go over the sides of the stencil too much. That's a nice covering. Again, when you're picking up one of these that's got lots of apertures in it, be careful, treat it with respect. Okay, now I'm going to try and place them so they're kind of in the spaces but kind of over those as well. And I'm not pressing too hard. I need a bit more, or do I need a bit more? I need a bit more along that top edge. Right, we'll take a look at this in a minute, guys. I just want to pop that bit there. So I've got this on the plate. I want to do the same with the other one, but I want to clean this bit off first. So I'm going to use one of the clean-up ones just to get the majority of that off. See, it's just another layer, doesn't bother me. Now I want this clean, and that is because I don't want what I'm about to put on onto the next print. I don't want the edges of things blurry, because matching this one up is going to be slightly more difficult than it was with the broken bark one. So I thought let's just make a clean start of it, literally make a clean start of it. And gently lift it up. I think that's cool. So I'm really liking this, and I don't really want to do a lot to it. I don't want to do polka dots with bubble wrap. I do feel it needs a something though. Okay, I have this stencil called Peas in a Pod. I think it launched about a month ago, to be honest with you. It comes in 3 different sizes, a large one, a medium one and a small one, and I quite like this size, and I think that would just add little bits of interest on there. And I think I'm going to do it in black. In fact, I'm darn sure I'm going to do it in black. Right, let's just pull this back. So obviously I can do small stuff on a big plate. The trouble is it's very hard to do big stuff on a small plate. So I'm pulling in some Mars Black. Now I don't need a lot. I must remember that for myself. I don't need a lot. Oh, snap. Ooh, gunge on there. Bit of black there. Now I'm going to be using black on other things as well, so if I do have an excess of this, I can use it up. Now, because of the thickness of a stencil, you will always need a little bit more paint than you expect to be able to push the paint down into the apertures, but you don't want so much paint and you don't want to push so hard that you end up squishing it out underneath the stencil. Because what you want is nice, clean, crisp edges. Good grief. That's what happens when I cut my nails and I can't pick stuff up. See, that's what I was hoping for. Now, I just want to bring in pieces of this. Sorry, the reason I held it up like this is because I can see through the paper because my window is over there, and it gives me an idea of where things are. Okay, I'm okay with that. Like a bit of a ghost of one there, if I could get it. Okay, not finished yet, but liking where that's going. Right, as I've got this on the go, I wonder whether I'll try and put some of this onto one of my other pieces. Not one that we've done, but one of the clean-up ones. Like we thought this one was almost done, and I actually think if I put these on there, it would finish it off for me. Oh, obviously going to do more prints today than I thought I was going to do. I was expecting just to do 4. I didn't realise I was going to get to the stage where I could finish off others as well. Right, let's put a bit of you there. I need a bit of you along there. And I need a bit right by there. Oh, I didn't realise those would join up like that. So I get one more bit out of this paint before the paint dries up completely on me. Now again, I could lay this on something and pick it up on a bit of scrap paper, but I'm not going to. Okay, I think I'm liking that. Again, it needs just one more thing, not sure what it is. As you can see, I'm a bit of a lover of something dotty. So, right, I think we're at time to clean up a bit here. Let's get rid of this black from here. So, this is where we got to with this one. And I'm not hating it. Does look a bit camouflaged though, but you know what? Maybe it needs to be a bit camouflaged. This one is also the other one. Again, a bit camouflage. I'm not overly upset by that though. I mean, I do know I need to put something into it. Now, I have to be careful, because if I put red into this, all of a sudden this turns into Christmas. Right, I've got one of my foam stamps here. And I think I would quite like that on here. Now, I just cleaned up black, haven't I? So, actually, let's use white. Just because. Well, I've got a feeling my bray is probably going to... Oh, that's not white, that's yellow. My bray is probably going to turn my white into another colour. Because, of course, we've just used black, haven't we? So let's see if I make sure that my bray has got as much off it as I can get off it. It's amazing how black gets reactivated by other paints really quickly. So, not my favourite attribute of it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bray the white out and come in, and I'm going to pick up the white on my stamp, press it down, just walk my fingers across the back a little bit. So I've gone quiet, guys. I know I'm just thinking at the moment. Okay, that's getting there. Let's do the same with the other one. As I said, these are beginning to be a pair now, which isn't a problem. Now I'm turning my paper around because otherwise I tend to get into the habit of putting stuff in exactly the same place on each of my creations. I do want that to have a little bit down there though. That looks a bit static in the middle. Let's add a little something to the side of it. I'm thinking about it. Come back in here, you. I'd rather add a little bit to the side of there as well. Right. Now, when you're using a foam stamp, as this is a foam stamp, what I do is once I finish using paints on it, I will stamp off the excess as much as I can. And then I will come in and I will put it onto a damp cloth so that the damp cloth keeps the paint soft, so when I come to clean it, the paint hasn't dried. That's my principle with that. Right, these can go to one side. I've got white on this plate, so I think I'm just going to bray this out and use it to lighten up a few of the other pieces I've got behind me. This one's beginning to get a bit muddy, so I think this can do with a something. I think this kissing technique is actually a go-to for me. Like when things are beginning to get a bit too dark or too muddy, I tend to almost re-establish the surface by the kissing technique. Which hadn't left lines in the middle of that one, but I will get rid of those now. So there you go, just adding little bits. This one's nice, but it needs something on it as well. I may have let that dry too long. I don't understand it here. It's absolutely raining, pouring outside. Has been for a couple of days, and yet everything is still drying inside this house, and the heating's not on, obviously, because it's the summer. I'm not putting the heating on in the summer, and yet paint's still drying really quickly. Right, where are we up to? Let's take a little bit of a look at where we got with the blue one. Now, I'm not upset by this one. I'm thinking this is almost done. I just need to think what the other colour is that I want to put on here. Do I want to complement it or do I want to contradict it? Bear thinking about. I keep going back to this paint because I really like this colour. Now I did say I wanted fresh and vibrant, didn't I? So maybe it is this colour. Right, so I've got stripes, I've got dots. Right, I've got circles, but I really am tempted to pull those in. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's do that. I keep being drawn back to this colour. I'll be sad when I run out of this colour. But I will be buying this colour again. So literally, this was the inners of a roll of tape or something. And I'm trying not to get a perfect impression. But what I am going to do is I'm going to create patterns with it, like I've done the line of 3 there. I will probably overlap those two. I'm going to possibly do a square of them over here, so I can use mark making tools to actually create interest in elements. Actually, I'm not hating that. I wonder whether I want to come in. I've got a smaller one here. I feel this needs something and I can't, my brain isn't telling me yet what it's supposed to need, or my gut should I say. But I think I might just, yeah, let's put that to one side again. Okay, let's brayer this out and pick it up with a cleaning one. Let's use this green one that we've been messing around with that we're not overly fond of. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes the prints I do, my favourite ones are the clean off ones. Right, so that's re-established that as a completely new background that needs something now. So, which is good because it's given me a fresh start on something that I wasn't overly happy with. Just cleaning up. Right, I need to pause because I want to go and wash this and I want to clean this. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to have a quick think about what I want to do with what look like the camouflage ones. I think I'd like to put numbers onto them. I've got a feeling that's what that's calling for. And I think once the numbers are on there, they're done. So bear with me, people. So here I'm back again, cleared the decks as it says I would. So these are the two prints that I'm sort of not stuck with. They started off orange, they turned into Kermit, and now they've turned into a giraffe, and now goodness knows what we're going to call them. However, I think I'm going to come in with numbers. Now, these are two foam stamps that I've created for PM Artist Studio. I will put links to all my products in the description box, so no worry about that. Now, temptation is to use black, but I think I'm going to use this colour. Because I'd like to use red, but I think red is the wrong colour because it'll just go Christmas on me. So I'm going to come in and I'm probably going to use this on one of them and this on the other one because the scale of the numbers is slightly different. I may be wrong in making that decision, but I've been wrong before, so not a problem there. So let's start with the block one because there are definite areas on here that I feel could use a block. Oh, the sun's shining. So just braid this out, move the stamp around so you're picking up paint. I don't mind if it's not a perfect print. Obviously I'd like a perfect print, but I'm not going to worry about it. Putting it down, pressing it down in certain areas to pick it up. Now I designed this so it can be used in any orientation because some of the numbers are otherwise, some are upside down, some are the right way up. So I'm just going to come in. I'm not punching the heck out of this. I'm literally just popping pieces in couple of little numbers down there, I think. I feel I should have something more in the middle. Okay, that's done. We'll look at it later, but that's done. Okay, again with the stamp, I'm going to stamp it off and then I'm going to sit it on a damp cloth so it doesn't dry out. I'm going to bring the next one in. Now this one is a strip of numbers. I can put it in any orientation again. However, I'm going to keep this one vertical. Don't know, just personal preference on this print. Probably because there are areas that would work well with a strip of numbers or strips of numbers. It reminds me slightly of the Matrix with that code running up and down it. Obviously, I'm totally ignoring the third things or threes. I'm just putting down what I feel I want to put down. Let's see if I can extend this right. These stamps will line up with each other, so if I want to add another piece in, which I've just done there, I can add a longer strip and then it's absolutely seamless. Okay, just know that the edges of the numbers are about millimetre, maybe 2 millimetres from the edge, so just allow that when you stamp that down. So I think that one's also done. Now, have I got anything over here that could do with numbers? Actually, this looks like a prime candidate for some numbers. Let's just bring some of these in here. And that may be this one finished as well. I think I might use both of these because the paint is drying up, so that means I'll get not so much a ghost print, but I won't get a perfect print. Hopefully I wasn't off shot for that. A little bit up there. Right, again, I think we're calling that one finished, and I will show you it all later. And I think we're done with this colour. These go onto the foam, onto the wet mat to dry up. Bit of a clean up here. So that's a couple done. Now, as far as I can see behind me, I've only got that one blue one to do. The one that I said that I'm not sure it's completely finished. And while I was having a bit of a clean up before, I thought, you know what? I quite like the idea of putting yellow onto it. Yellow is one of my favourite colours as far as adding a bit of fire to something, should we say. And this is the one I'm talking about. Now, I think I wanted bright and fresh and modern looking, so I'm going to pull in a bit of bubble, but the big bubble. I wonder if I'll pull that one in. Ooh, that's an idea. What if I put copper? No, I don't want to put a metallic on. So, right, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that cadmium yellow hue. Sorry, deep hue. And then I think we're probably almost done, which I've said no idea how. Is that going to be transparent? That looks like it's going to be transparent. Oh, okay, transparent is fine. A little bit more there. Okay, that's bright and fresh. That's done. You know what? I'm liking it that much. I'm going to put it onto the other one as well. Because I did say I thought there was something missing. Well, I didn't know it was going to be this, did I? And because the paint's drying up, it's only a subtle hint of the yellow. Right, I think, let's get that one little bit down there. Don't ask me why it offended me, it offended me. Right, I think all of the ones that we intended doing are done, and we've got a couple of bonus ones as well. So let's get this wiped up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop, have a complete wipe up, and that'll give the prints time to dry, and then you can see them all and we can say goodbye. So, see you in 2 seconds, guys. Well, obviously cleaned up. So let's look at the prints that, have they made it out of the, out of the red box into the amber box, or out of the amber box into the green box. Basically, the prints always need something. This was the one we played around with. It's going back into the amber box, I think. It's almost there, but it's not quite. It needs something. This one, I'm beginning to really like this. I'm not 100% certain what it needs, but when I next look at this, it'll probably tell me. This one, it's okay. There's sections of it I like, there's sections I don't. This one is almost there. I'm very tempted to say this just needs one more element, but I don't want to do it and rush it because I will do it wrong. This one again is one of those that's almost there, but not quite. So there was one that we rescued, well not rescued, we added to this one. This is now going to go into the green box, which means that it's completely finished, and it might even go into my keeper's box. My keeper's box is a very special box. It has all of the prints I'm saving up to maybe one day see if I can get a manufacturer to make me a 12 by 12 pad, which I would love, and I think this might go in there. And the reason for that is because everything on here is mine. It's all my design. I don't have to work with copyright. I own this. So the print that went to Kermit and back again. Well, we went on a bit of a journey with these two, didn't we? We started off with oranges and terracottas. Then we went all the way to Kermit. Then we went to a jolly old giraffe. And then we came back to numbers. And actually, I'm really liking these. I think this colour red saved it from looking Christmas and saved it from looking military. I'm okay with this. I'm happy with those, actually. I will say that I'm happy with those. And then the two that I'm really happy with, which are these two, that gave me that fresh, modern look I was looking for. And this one, again, fresh. It's got less on it, but actually, I don't mind. They're different, but they're of the same family. So hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. Just a bit of playtime with me, as I said. I just wanted to do some gel printing today. So, video, I have no idea how long this video is, but as I've always said to you, you can stop, you control the buttons, guys. Fast forward, skip, go to the end, stop it, come back another day. That's what I do. I start watching a video, then on YouTube it drops into my library, and then periodically I'll drop back in and finish watching it. And so many of you have always said to me, Ceri, we don't mind the length of your videos. Good on you. Thank you very much. So I think I'm going to say goodbye, guys. So I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri, the Crafter. Until next time. Bye-bye now.